I'll never forget the sound of my first scooter's deck scraping the pavement. I was stranded miles from home, staring at a cracked frame because the manufacturer wildly exaggerated their weight capacity. Finding a scooter that actually supports heavier adults without sacrificing speed, range, or structural integrity is a nightmare. Most buckle under pressure. After putting countless models through grueling real-world tests, I found the ones that truly deliver for bigger riders. Today, we are counting down the top 7 scooters for adults up to 300 pounds. Let's find out which one actually survives the stress test. 7. Skidee Adult and Teen Scooter. At first glance, this model seems like a highly accessible and convenient option for casual neighborhood cruising. I was initially drawn to its lightweight aluminum frame and the promise of a quick folding mechanism. Testing it out on smooth suburban sidewalks, the initial push feels decent, and the adjustable handlebar height does accommodate taller riders relatively well. However, this is where the pleasantries begin and end for anyone pushing the higher end of the weight spectrum. As I took the Skidee on longer test runs, the heavily advertised dual suspension system quickly revealed its fatal flaws. When supporting a heavier adult, the springs immediately compress to their absolute limit, completely eliminating any shock absorption. Every single crack, pebble, and uneven sidewalk joint sends a jarring vibration straight up through the steering column and into your wrists. The ride quality degrades rapidly, and what starts as a fun glide quickly turns into an uncomfortable, rattling chore that leaves you dreading the next block. Ergonomically, the deck space presents another significant hurdle for larger riders. While they claim it supports heavier adults, the physical footprint of the standing area feels painfully cramped. If you were a larger shoe size, you are forced to ride with an incredibly narrow and awkward stance, which completely throws off your center of gravity. Balancing becomes a strenuous balancing act rather than a natural posture, making it inherently difficult to feel safe or stable when navigating tighter corners or navigating around pedestrians. Ultimately, the biggest drawback is that this is entirely a manual kick scooter masquerading in a list where electric power is desperately needed for adult commuting. 6. SereneLife Kick Scooter for Adults. Taking out of the box, the wider stance and slightly thicker frame materials do give a better first impression than the Skidee. The initial assembly is straightforward, and the large polyurethane wheels look perfectly suited for conquering long stretches of neighborhood pavement. For the first mile on freshly laid asphalt, it genuinely feels like a step up in terms of rolling resistance and overall momentum. Unfortunately, the honeymoon phase ends abruptly the moment you encounter real-world urban infrastructure. While the overall weight of the scooter is kept low for portability, this lightweight construction translates into a deeply unsettling flimsiness under a heavy payload. Pushing hard on the handlebars to gain speed causes noticeable flex in the steering column. It constantly feels as though you are pushing the metal to its breaking point, and that lack of rigidity completely shatters your confidence when trying to build any meaningful momentum. The wheel design and bearing quality further compound the frustrating riding experience. Although the large wheels are meant to roll over debris smoothly, the rigid polyurethane material provides absolutely zero give. Because the frame lacks adequate suspension to handle heavy compression, every harsh impact is transferred directly into your knees and lower back. After testing this on a standard 2-mile city commute, the physical fatigue from absorbing road vibrations was far worse than the effort of actually kicking the scooter forward. Braking performance is the final nail in the coffin for the SereneLife under heavy loads. The rear fender friction brake relies entirely on you shifting your weight backward and pressing your heel down. When you're carrying extra mass and moving at a brisk walking pace, this braking method is terrifyingly inadequate. 5. Circooter Raptor Pro. This machine completely ditches the manual struggle, bringing dual electric motors and a rugged, all-terrain aesthetic that demands respect. Taking it off the pavement and onto a dirt trail for the first time, I was genuinely impressed by how aggressively the motors grip the terrain. It doesn't just look tough, it actually has the torque necessary to propel a heavier rider up steep dirt inclines without the motors bogging down or overheating. The acceleration profile on the Raptor Pro is surprisingly punchy for its price point. Testing the throttle response, the dual motors kick in with a forceful surge that makes you completely forget about the weight limit concerns we had with the previous models. It easily crests city hills and uneven park trails, maintaining a consistent speed where lesser scooters would crawl to a halt. The raw power delivery is exactly what a heavier adult needs to feel safe and integrated with faster-moving bicycle lane traffic. One of the most dramatic improvements here is the heavy-duty suspension system designed for real-world impact. The shock absorbers on the Raptor Pro have plenty of travel, meaning they do not bottom out the second you step onto the deck. I rode this over thick gravel, tree roots, and deep street potholes, and the suspension effortlessly soaked up the abuse. It protects your joints and keeps the tires firmly planted on the ground, ensuring you maintain traction and control even in less than ideal riding conditions. Build quality and ergonomics finally align with the needs of a larger rider. The expansive deck provides more than enough room for massive shoes, allowing you to establish a wide, comfortable, and highly stable riding stance. Four, RoadRunner RS5. Stepping onto the deck of the RS5, the immediate sensation is one of absolute, unshakable stability. The build quality here feels distinctly premium, moving away from utility-grade materials into aerospace-grade aluminum. My first test ride through downtown traffic was a revelation. The scooter feels completely planted at high speeds, completely eliminating the terrifying speed wobbles that plague cheaper electric models when loaded near their maximum capacity. Performance-wise, the RS5 is a masterclass in smooth, accessible power. The acceleration is incredibly potent but expertly refined, delivering a relentless pull that easily carries a 300-pound rider up the steepest urban hills imaginable. I intentionally sought out the most grueling inclines in the city, and the RS5 powered up them without breaking a sweat or rapidly draining the battery voltage. The motors run quietly but deliver an exhilarating rush of speed that makes long daily commutes genuinely thrilling rather than a chore. The removable battery feature on this scooter is an absolute game-changer for daily logistics. High-capacity, heavy-duty scooters are notoriously difficult to lug inside for charging. With the RS5, I found it incredibly convenient to simply park the hefty frame securely in the garage or lobby, unlock the massive battery pack, and carry only the battery inside to my desk. This single feature completely solves the portability issue associated with heavyweight electric scooters, making it vastly more practical for apartment dwellers or office commuters. Braking and overall handling are where the RS5 solidifies its premium status. The fully hydraulic disc brakes provide extraordinary stopping power, which is absolutely critical when you need to safely halt a heavy load moving at top speed. Three, Kaabo Mantis King GT. From the moment I powered on the massive, vibrant TFT display, it was obvious that this scooter operates on an entirely different level of sophistication. The visual interface is stunning, providing crystal clear readouts of your speed, battery health, and riding modes even in direct, glaring sunlight. It sets the tone for a deeply customizable riding experience that caters specifically to the exacting demands of enthusiast-level riders. The ride dynamics on the Mantis King GT are nothing short of spectacular. What truly sets it apart for heavier adults is the fully adjustable hydraulic suspension system. During my testing, I was able to dial in the exact stiffness required to perfectly offset my weight, completely eliminating the dreaded deck sag. Whether I was carving through smooth, empty streets or taking aggressive shortcuts through bumpy alleyways, the suspension dynamically adapted, providing a buttery smooth, cloud-like glide that left me completely fatigue-free after miles of riding. Power delivery is managed by dual sine wave controllers, which dramatically refine how the scooter accelerates. Even when pushing the maximum weight limit, there is absolutely zero jerky, neck-snapping acceleration when you pull the throttle. Instead, you get a relentless, fluid, and incredibly silent climb to top speed. It feels like riding a premium electric vehicle. The power is endlessly abundant, but delivered with a level of grace and precision that gives you absolute mastery over the machine's immense capabilities. Safety and structural integrity are flawlessly executed on this model. The lighting package is the best in its class, featuring a blindingly bright high-mounted headlight, gorgeous deck LEDs, and highly visible turn signals that actually command attention in traffic. 2. Apollo Phantom 2.0 2025/2026 edition. The Phantom has always been a beloved workhorse, but this latest iteration refines the formula into an absolute masterpiece of modern scooter design. The aesthetic is incredibly sleek and aggressive, looking less like a toy and more like a piece of advanced sci-fi hardware. From meticulously welded frame joints to the premium tactile feel of the throttle, every single inch of this scooter screams durability and high-end craftsmanship. The introduction of Apollo's proprietary Mach controllers completely transforms the internal brain of the scooter. The level of granular control you have over the motor output is astonishing. Testing the regenerative braking was a revelation. It is so intuitive and smooth that I barely had to touch the mechanical brakes during a normal commute. The system effortlessly decelerates the scooter while simultaneously feeding valuable power back into the battery, drastically extending the real-world range, even when hauling a heavier rider across the city. Ergonomics and smart connectivity are where the Phantom 2.0 leaves the competition in the dust. The dedicated Apollo smartphone app integration allows you to custom tune your acceleration curves, braking strength, and top speed limits directly from your phone. The gorgeous quad-lock style display setup gives you unprecedented, real-time analytics of your ride parameters. Standing on the ultra-wide deck, holding the ergonomic grips, and looking down at the telemetry makes you feel incredibly connected and in total control of the hardware. The quadruple suspension system is a genuine marvel of mechanical engineering. I intentionally took the Phantom 2.0 down the most broken, pothole-riddled industrial streets I could find, and it simply swallowed the impacts whole. It floats over major road imperfections that would easily bend the rims of lesser scooters. 1. Kaabo Wolf King GTR. Calling this machine a mere scooter almost feels like a disservice to its engineering. It is quite literally a two-wheeled tank designed to conquer absolutely anything in its path. Just standing next to it, the sheer size and aggressive stance command absolute respect. When I first stepped onto the phenomenally thick, rubberized deck, I immediately knew this was the ultimate in-game vehicle for heavier riders. The sheer power produced by the GTR is completely mind-bending. Armed with massive, high-wattage dual motors, this beast doesn't just accommodate heavier riders, it completely ignores the extra weight. Launching off the line in maximum performance mode delivers a terrifyingly fast surge of speed that pins you back. It obliterates steep off-road hills, plows through thick mud, and effortlessly keeps pace with aggressive city traffic. The torque is so immense that carrying a 300-pound payload feels like a casual walk in the park for these motors. Ride quality is vastly superior to anything else on the market, heavily borrowing from motorcycle engineering. The massive inverted front forks and the highly adjustable rear coilover shock provide a suspension setup that nothing else can match. I launched this scooter off dirt ramps, crashed through deep woodland trails, and commuted across ruined city infrastructure with equal dominance. The suspension eats massive drops and harsh impacts with zero bottoming out, keeping the gigantic tubeless tires firmly glued to the riding surface at all times. Everything about the Wolf King GTR is wonderfully over-engineered for extreme durability and safety. The inclusion of a highly sophisticated traction control system completely prevents dangerous wheel spin under heavy acceleration, keeping you safe on wet or slippery surfaces.